Oseo.
Oseo.
Cherokee greeting. Wave the great feather for the good of it. Continuing from last week, the great white buffalo, the great white buffalo constellation is what I'm starting with. So first thing I want to do is to look down here at this map. It's titled Tribes of the Indian Nation. So we have, this is Turtle Island. That's what we call it, like that. And here I've delineated in red here, all the way up here into Canada and around the Great Lakes. All the way down. This is the area for the Lakota Dakota. You've probably heard the name Sioux. It's a French name for these people, and so collectively they are the Siouan people. Evidently the French called them by the name meaning little snake. I don't know why. But that's what this is. This is the delineation of the Siouan language world. And some of the states of the United States still has maintained the names North Dakota, South Dakota, Minnesota, Nebraska, but the Nebraska, meaning it's flat. These are all names in Lakota. So you can see that pretty much, and Missouri, like the Missouri River, you can see, and this is well up into Saskatchewan, up here, like that. So that's going to give you a pretty good idea at the center of Turtle Island, and the Missouri River is the heart of Turtle Island. And all of this, you know, has been invaded by European immigrants who have come in and pretty much taken over. But in this area, there are still many speakers. Lakota is the largest and fastest growing Native American language. Right now it stands about at 160,000 Lakota speakers. There are several other dialects. Basically, Lakota and Dakota are two dialects, but there are many other, some very distant from Lakota and some very close to Lakota. And throughout this whole area that I'm flashing a light on, there still are many speakers, even of other Siouan languages. Although they are surrounded by a sea of European immigrants, there still are many people in this region, the middle of Turtle Island, now called the United States, that are native speakers. And from that, I'm going to go a little bit continuing here with the great white buffalo constellation. Starting about the summer solstice is the rising of the stars called the Pleiades, like that, and that is the head of the great white buffalo constellation. And it maintains that. It means to us here in Turtle Island that the great white buffalo constellation is the oversoul. The oversoul means the spiritual unity of all beings. And so we are all living, you know, under the oversoul of the great white buffalo until about January. So all our actions, everything we do, we can say, you know, has that beautiful light coming down from that constellation. So for that, to start with, can we look over here? This is my shield here. And here I do have the illustration, exactly what I'm talking about. This is the Pleiades. I use this form of the Pleiades. It's the Navajo form. They call it Tiliehi, which means the pointers. So that's the form I use. And here's the three stars of the Orion constellation. And here is Rigel. It's also paired with Betkes in there for the ribs. Anyway, and here is the tail. Sirius is the tail. So that's what we're starting with. And with that, keep focusing there. And I'll read this to go with it. is a kind of chant. Far in the east, far below, there a lodge was made, a beautiful lodge. White buffalo of dawn, there his lodge was made, a beautiful lodge. The dawn buffalo, there his lodge was made, beautiful lodge. Soft possessions, and for them a lodge was made, a beautiful lodge. Water in plenty, surrounding, for it a lodge was made, a beautiful lodge. The ancients make their presence beautiful. The white buffalo, the dawn, his lodge is beautiful. Oh, oh. So that gives us a good start. And now I'm segueing into further in this theme, and that is the great white buffalo woman. So we've gone from the constellation now into the woman. And first thing I'll show you is up here. We'll go up here with the introduction. This is my shield, the way I'm representing her as a shield cover for her. You can see that. And then if you drop down, we'll go right down here, this artist's representation of the white buffalo woman. And it is an artist's idea. I'm not sure who the artist is. This piece, which is a poster that I got quite a while ago, somehow a ban has been put on it. So they're not available anymore, and I'm not sure why. But there are discrepancies, in it. Basically, you can see there is a woman coming out of a white buffalo. But this buffalo is a male buffalo, not a female buffalo. And of course, you can see her, how she looks. She's, very Vogue model, like, with a choker and an eagle feather, and she's holding a pipe here. The only thing that seems to resemble the original here is that she is fluffed around her call it a white buffalo robe. So that's all what's depicted here. And also you see this buffalo has a black horn. And so from that we'll go down here to this piece here. This is my creation, or maybe a recreation of the white buffalo woman. She's also called white buffalo calf woman. And there are several, dialects or changes in the language in this region we've been introduced to. And so there's little variations, in this subject. Why she is a buffalo, or why she is the white buffalo calf. Because it's not specified in the persons who originally encountered her, whether we're looking at a calf, or we are looking at a heifer, a yearling, or we are looking at a cow, but they're all female. So that all has something to do with the variations of what we want to call her. And people call her either white buffalo woman or white buffalo calf woman, that way. And so this is, my actual illustration for her. And there's a lot of reasons why I have this, if we can continue, looking at that, from the Lakota itself and this story. First we have to know a little bit the genesis for the Lakota. They dwelled inside the earth as buffalo, as people who were buffalo, in a very idyllic world. Eventually, somehow, a wolf came and peered down into a hole, a tunnel, I would call it, that went down into their world, and he got the attention of somebody down there, and he said, you all should, did say that, you all should come up here into the sunlight. You should all come up here and see what the world is like up here living in the sunlight. So all those people who were buffalo came up into the sunlit world and became the Lakota people. So that's a little bit, that has to be in the background here. So then the people had individuals who were scouts. They were buffalo scouts is what they called them. And they had an affinity, they are individuals, it has an affinity with the buffalo and can find them or know where they are. They have all kinds of different devices. There are also the buffalo callers, people who have ways of calling the buffalo. So they want to get these buffalo, over into their vicinity. So that's how this idea of this story starts. So that two of these buffalo scouts, went out, and eventually they did come upon a herd of buffalo. And as their story goes, within that herd, they saw a white buffalo. And here's where it's a little bit ambiguous. Do you mean it's a heifer, it's a cow, it's a calf? Well, they didn't really say. But they said as they began to approach the white animal, there was a mist. There was a mist around her. And at the same time, the other buffalo began to form a circle or encircled her, either way. And so as they became closer, they became enveloped in this fog. Po'o, it's called. This mist, this fog came and enveloped them, and they lost all other senses of their intentions, there. And then they found within that lights started flashing. It sounds like colored flashes of light. And then emerged this woman as seemingly out of the white buffalo who was standing there. She's now turned into a, quote, beautiful woman. And how she's described, is that she is all white. She has, white skin, in her white hair. Haska in the Lakota is saying that. Her hair, her white skin, it all shines. And she has a white robe. She's wearing a white robe around her shoulders. And so all this is happening. And her hair, as you can see on my creation here, her hair is loose. She actually says that. She let her hair hang loose. And then her hair was dangling all around her. So these are actually, has come down to us, from this original encounter. And here, down here, this will, simulate the white robe that's around her, that's around her shoulders. And that this called vapor, this Wakhan vapor, that's all around her and them. It's called, a fog emerged ata po'o anha pike. And then with her hands, she held out her hands. They definitely have that as a feature of witnessing her here. Her open hands were extended. Kiyugata, it means she has kindness for me. We all have relation to this woman, is what this means in the story. So as we're focusing there, this is the story that came along with her. In other words, this is what she had then said. Said that a kind of wind came around, and this wind made her mouth move, and all around was in harmony, like a music of nature. And here's, what they said. She said, I am here before the rains came. I am here before even the snow fell. I was here before the mountains and the wind. I am the spirit of nature. I am in the light filling this earth. I am in the substance that gives unity. I am in you as you walk the simple path of the good red road. I am in you when you show love for humankind, for I give love to those who are loving. I am in the response of love among all people, for this is the good path that will find the blessing and fulfillment of the Great Spirit. Taku Skanskan. Aho. So that's a really good saying that goes along with her there. Further, that goes in the legend is, like I said, there are kind of two versions here. It's hard to know how to interweave them. Up here, one, she brought a pipe. There's a pipe, and in the portrait here, she's carrying a pipe. So this is very, very important. And this pipe is also called a calf bone pipe. Now, all of this, the experts have decided, started 3,000 years ago. So whether these things, happened 3,000 years ago or sometime since then and now, I can't say. But for all the experts put together, starting with the White Buffalo Constellation, because they can figure with the precession of the equinoxes, because these people, the Lakota, had to align themselves at the time that that constellation was there. So that's where you get the 3,000 years. And other means that they have decided with the language, all this being 3,000 years ago. Well, she brought this pipe, which became major in this culture. By now, of course, they claim that the pipe still exists. There's a pipe person who takes care of this, and it's all wrapped up, and whether anybody sees it or not, but it would be quite an antique. At any rate, what I have relating to that is this pipe here. This is meant to be like the calf bone pipe. In the old ones, this would have been made with a porcupine quill here. And this, when I first got it years ago, had a lot of feathers to it, but they've all dropped away. But that's what I have here, for this. So that's another feature, for all of this. When I come over here, we can look at, here is a white calf with his mother, her mother here, so you can see that, how she would look. And here, behind it, this is a real photo of a white buffalo. This is up in Northern California. Vivian and I were together when we encountered this buffalo, and so this is her photo, so that there really is the white buffalo. Also interesting is the horn. The horn is white. I have never seen anywhere anybody attempting to say, I have a white horn from the white buffalo. But see, on the painting up there, it's always painted black. But here's, you really see it's a white horn there. Here over my model, you see this is braided sweetgrass. And it's the main offering for the buffalo in any ceremony or anything related to it. And I think along with Charles Olson say, there's this which one must have but cannot get, but without it one becomes the enemy of life. So we say, we definitely give her the braided sweetgrass to the buffalo here. And then we go up here, this photo is an Edward Curtis photograph. I would say that it's rare, seldom seen, and one of the reasons it's seldom seen is because of what it's depicting. Here are two Lakota women, and they're wearing these headdresses with the buffalo horns. So that's called the Pite Wapakaha. That's what they're wearing over their heads. And all this is to say, from who knows, time immemorial to the present, there is a culture for the buffalo, and maybe even specifically the white buffalo woman. But it has continued in spite of everything, and these women are initiated into it, young women, and they make shields. Here's a shield from there. I think the brown cloth, velvet cloth, means the buffalo wool, and here is the footprints of the buffalo. Very, very special. And then while we're on it here, over here, this is a little baby, and I don't know if you make it out, but the baby is also wearing this bopika with a buffalo headdress and horns. And she's looking over here, so it also says she is a baby. She's a baby, but she's a baby who has the awareness of other people. And with that subject, we come over here. This is my drawing. This is my drawing of Coyote wearing his, pakaha headdress, and that's to make the the buffalo very outstanding here. Yeah. Then we can go all the way over here to this shield. So this shield, now I know how old this one is because it's signed on the back by the woman who made it. And it's Liddell Lakela, and she made it on August 25th, 1998. So this would also to attest to the continuing tradition of this culture of women and how that they are initiated, we'll call it, into it, and the making of a shield is very much a part of their culture. So in this one, so of course the white fur would refer to her, the white buffalo woman. These are meant to be the eagle feathers. And here, these here are jingles. They used to be bright, but now they've gotten tarnished, they've gotten dark. Whether this woman, Liddell, was a jingle dancer, it could have been, because it means that young women make dresses with these jingles and dance marvelously with that sound going on. And probably these are even strands of her hair and the fringe. All of these are all registered meaningfully in the Lakota language. So it's a marvelous, marvelous piece for me to have here. Then we come down here to this piece here. This is a round stone. Now, the Lakota, if not all the people of the Siouan family, very much rocks, the rocks or the stones, are very special. In the recent news, I don't know, a couple of years ago by now, we had the pipeline attempt to go across the Missouri River and in the Lakota country, and the people rising up in protest, and that was the Standing Rock people. Indian was Ho'olahe Yoyati, and that's meaning the Standing Rock. Indian means the creator. Although Jonathan, who was over there at some time, he said there actually is a rock they put up on a pedestal, so to literally say it's Standing Rock. But Standing Rock really means to stand up for our country. And it still is the Lakota country, Lakota Taha. And so people still are, at least, defending our country against those kind of incursions. So the idea of rock. So also another version of the coming of the white buffalo woman, she came with a stone in her hands, and that's called Inyan Wan Yuahahi. And with that stone, I'm looking at this to go with that. With this, she gave the unity, this stone stands for the unity of the 7 council fires, is what they call it. Now at that incident of the pipeline and the river and all that, for the first time in who knows how long, all 7 councils appeared there. That was really, really remarkable. And in spite of all the force of the military gendarmes, nobody got killed. They were an absolute miracle itself, But here, I have this sacred red stone. It is a special kind of stone that she brought. That is, what I'm trying to say, whitish. Red and white makes pink in our language. But what we're talking about here is we have two words in this language for white. San, so pete sanguine for the white buffalo woman. San, that way. And then there's ska, like haska, for her white skin. And so different usages. But what's implied in this is white itself is not just, something chalk white, but something that's a quality. So there's a red stone with the quality in it of white. So the one that she brought was to be the Tonshira grandfather for the 7 council fires. In other words, that's the unity. Here in my display, this is a piece of buffalo hide with the fur on it and mounted on a red velvet encircled by the sweetgrass. This is the buffalo collar. This is meant to call the buffalo. And that's, pite wo pikia. To be able, the spirit here, this can go out and look for the buffalo and call the buffalo, come over here. So that's what I'm doing here. All this is a sympathetic resonance for the buffalo who are coming back. And so we have all that, going on here. Oh yeah, so I think I'm going to read this one for her. We focus on her. Because, here we have that she's an apparition. She's appeared. And that she's become part and parcel of the culture. So it's a little bit difficult. It's not exactly like saying that the white buffalo woman is a spirit. She's not like that. She certainly had an appearance. And in this appearance also, she had a secondary appearance. In the secondary appearance, she had somehow given instructions, I don't know how, to prepare a special teepee for her with an altar in it. An altar is a mound of earth with the buffalo skull on it. And in that, she made another appearance where she came. And I think in that one, she brought the pipe and told the people how to use it. So she kind of, gave them some real cultural guidelines by which they have continued. And so she continues, to me, it's like a preterite, that is something that happened in the past, but we have a verb to say that it continues. It continues with us. She is the culture of the Lakota, and the pipe, definitely verifies all of that. So she gave, these instructions or guides, and then she disappeared, as some say, as she, went away in a fog. They saw, a calf, a buffalo calf. So here we're looking at her, and we're going to say this one. Yashima, she comes. Yashima, she comes. Over the mountain, she comes. Across the prairie, she comes. Hey, hey, I hear her coming. Hey, hey, I see her now. From a grassy hill she comes. Her feather, the sky. Her moccasins, the earth. White calf, buffalo woman. Hey, hey, buffalo woman. Yes, she ma, beautiful woman. Bearing the white calf she comes. Bearing the sacred pipe she comes. Yes, she goes. Yes, she goes. Across the prairie she goes. I weep, for she is gone. Yes, she has gone. White calf, buffalo woman, she has come, and she has gone. Oh, oh. So that gives us a pretty good feeling for her. And a pretty good, I believe, I gave a very good rendering of her. I feel something kind of nudging me along, for all that. So all of this, I call this a sympathetic resonance, that any chord out there in the universe, in the cosmos, that when all of this, I've hit that chord, and it all can come together here. And for that I got one last piece. Well, this is the pipe bag. Here's a Lakota pipe bag. Carry the pipe and carry the tobacco in it. And you can see it's not very old. So these, are still, we still have a culture here. And we still carry on. We still carry on. Now I'm going to have a little piece just to end this, and you'll look at this. This is titled "The Drum That Beats Within Us," poems by Mike Bond. And the cover that got my attention, of course, is the buffalo. And here in this poem, he's called it the buffalo collar. And the buffalo collar in this one, unlike my stone, is a person. It is a person, Tepete Wopikia. I think that's how you say it. So it's very interesting for him to make a poem to this particular individual. Buffalo collar. Buffalo collar, how still ancient your trade. How warped in soil your empty bones are laid. Although the silent hoofbeats pound yet upon the grass, as if the herds of centuries rolled past. Once gone, how soon you are forgot. Like skulls a farmer turns, see not a glory that was once. Intent on seams of rye in which his years are spent. So might a European Celt in a Midwestern prairie, surprised by bones of antique bison, have surmised that rainwater had carved them, and thus his race, in unversed assurance, all history erases. So do we exhume you, and the beast who was your prayer, pray and feast. Aho.